Ottawa,
Ottawa,
Omaha.
welcome everybody to another episode of Sales Chatter. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about personal and professional growth. It's really not what you think it is.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
David did it. Yes,
Damon's back
man.
on top.
David,
you bought yourself a position on tomorrow's show if you're interested.
Please.
And Damon's like, yeah, I know. I can get on the show anytime I want because you can. So Damon, welcome, my friend. Welcome, brother. Damon, actually, very quickly. Damon just recently hired an individual that I've been speaking to for quite a while. And as a huge shout out, not just from DJ and I, but from people that are actually in your inner circle, Damon. I could tell you this individual is so pumped to be part of your team. His big message to me is Damon is such a great trainer, leader, and coach, and just such an amazing person. So thank you for being you, my friend. Thank you for continuing that push for people before profit. And I'll tell you, I don't know how many people tell you this, and not just from a thank you perspective, but you are truly an inspiration, my friend. So thank you very much.
Agreed.
So DJ today, we have got. I lost.
We got James back. Good to see you, bro.
Hey,
right,
you know what? Actually,
right,
Damon, our pleasure, my man. You know, it's and this is one of the topics today. I don't think we as people do a good enough job of sharing thank yous and honor and encouragement with other people. Maybe not encouragement, because a lot of people do encourage people, but just that a simple, like, hey, you know what you did yesterday was awesome. Thank you so much. And it goes so far, right? And Damon, you're really the like nucleus of all of that, my friend. And every conversation, it's how can I help? And I know how busy you are, and to truly take that time for your team, and really put that personal touch to it is amazing. So yeah, good morning. And we'll go back to this. So Jeff, yes, you did lose. But that's part of what we're actually going to be talking about this morning. And then Maggie says, good morning, first few days back. And I know I'm, and I'm watching the show. Oh, James says, good morning, first few days back. And I'm watching the show. James, what a good time to be back, because you're running right into a long weekend, my friend. So look at you in those days when you get back real smooth, like, way to go. So DJ, here's the thing, right? We talk about personal professional development. There is oodles of books. I think it's like 10,000 books a day get published on personal development or something stupid like that. Here's the thing. It's not really what everyone thinks. And and before everybody jumps down my throat on that, let me call that audible a little bit. So, there's obviously huge movements like The Secret. There was elements of The Secret that were missing, the action element and all this kind of stuff. So what I did is I put together 5 videos from old interviews I did. And kind of the format today, I'd like us to watch the video, they're 2 minutes or whatever a piece, and then kind of have a conversation about it. And I think these particular videos, I don't know if we'll get through all 5 depending on the conversation, but I figured I'd have 5 as a tool anyways, because for everyone that doesn't know, which is everyone, Friday and Monday, so tomorrow, Canada Day, July 1st, and Monday, July 4th, we are going live with Sales Chatter. We are. Even though it's a holiday. Now, here's the thing. I know y'all, everyone in Canada, tomorrow being the holiday, I encourage you to get up and watch Sales Chatter. Everyone in the US on Monday, I encourage you to get up and watch Sales Chatter on your holiday. Here's why. We've got DJ, Dean Crook, Jeff Dickinson, and myself. And hopefully, Damon, you'll join us tomorrow. We're going to talk war stories.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the stories, like some of the things that have happened to us, some of the crazy things we've experienced in this industry. And we're really going to make the next 2 shows so much fun where you're gonna go, holy shit, did that really happen? Like,
yes.
because
I swear they're all true stories too. Nothing is going to
all
be
true,
made up.
all true.
All
And
true
here's
stories.
the thing: these stories shaped us. And hold on just a sec. Okay, so with that announcement, it brings us to the first video, DJ. And this first video is how powerful is a story. And I actually did not plan that part of it that just happened. I did not plan that, but now when I was saying we're doing story day and war story, oh my god, I did actually pick video. So here we go.
Dondi, how powerful is a story? And the second part to this question is why should we tell it?
I think that stories are really powerful because they resonate with people. I know a lot of when I work with corporations, the brunt of my work, the majority of it is with the Fortune 100, and they're really good at pushing data around. I mean, they're fabulous at pushing the data all over the place, but they don't necessarily tell the story very well. And that's the part, the vision. People think in pictures, they think in images. So if you can take the data, the knowledge, and you can frame that in a story, and if you think that's how we have passed along our legends and our legacies, the stories that we've told, the histories of our families and our countries and our ethnicities. So the story is really important. Here's why it's important for an individual. That is how you market yourself. Your story is how you market yourself. It is how you build your brand. If you think about corporations and advertising, a commercial is a story. It is a 30-second, 10-second, 1-minute story. Think about the stories that resonate. We all know what Wednesday is now, don't we? Right? Guess what day it is? That's a little story. So what happens is if we learn how to tell our stories well, and to tell them in the right place at the right time, and tell them so that people connect with them, our connections increase. We can teach, we can impart knowledge, we can mentor, we can inspire, and we can build a powerful brand. There is a great book, by the way, I love it, called What's Your Story by Craig Wortman. And I have really used that as a reference in my own work. And he spells his last name Wortman. And I believe there's 2 N's on the end of it.
All right. I mean,
I like it.
was that not?
Oh, that's branding at its core. Uh-oh, you froze, and I don't know if I'm still alive.
Pretty cool. So Dondi's, so the stream, it's like so I apologize, everyone. We just got a notification that the stream was a little. You can see me, okay, DJ? We're good. You and I are good.
Yeah, you're good now. You're good now.
Okay. So hopefully that stream didn't affect anyone's connection. So so story.
Ooh.
Like and here's the thing, right? A brand is not just a company. Like we each are a brand. Every one of us has a brand. We have a brand in our company. It's one of the big things that we teach in ICB, right? Image, credibility, and brand selling. You're selling your prospect on enhancing their brand in their company, because everyone is a brand. It's not just a corporation. Everyone is a brand. And when Dondi, so apparent that everyone has a story, like, and you know what I mean, DJ? Like some people think I don't really have a story. I don't have like anything that anyone would connect with. And I could say everybody does. And I could say with full certainty, everyone watching and listening, if you started doing a podcast daily, you would have an audience. No matter what. No matter what you're talking about. Like
I was just at a meeting this morning, and this guy asked me that question. I told him I host a podcast, and he said, isn't that becoming, how do people even follow you? There's so many now. I said, you have no idea. You just have to be you, tell your story, share the true you, and people will follow. Your words will resonate with somebody, and it will help them. Everybody has to share their story. I think they have to share their story.
James, welcome back, brother. A brand is a voice, a product is a souvenir.
Oh, wow,
brother, that is welcome back.
Yeah,
Where the hell were you, man?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That is really good. Really good. Wow. I'm actually going to use that. If you're okay, I'm going to use that as a title for one of the replays. That is spectacular, brother.
That is.
But
I agree.
It's
I agree
true.
Completely.
It's true. I've met people at marketing events that crochet, and they make $3 million a year selling crochet training. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. Like I put a couple of videos. I have a podcast. I talk about the different tensality or tent, whatever you call it, like strength of the yarn and different things. And I just talk about it. And I get it. There's probably a wicked amount of people that do that. Mm-hmm. But this woman has a podcast. From the podcast, she directs everybody to her website to buy her program. That's her business.
I love it.
Right? I have so here's an interesting thing that I just figured out. The guy that's helped me with my pool and everything, like with the liner and all the installation of the stuff. I finally got the waterfalls and the thing built for the waterfalls and stuff. Nice. And he was over on Sunday looking at it. And I said, how did you get to this point? And he says, oh, well, it's an interesting story. And right away it goes into a story. And he says, I worked with this pool company for this long. He goes, and then I wasn't treated the way I felt I should be treated. Like I was their number one, but I was still being, not given opportunities. Like his child, he's a single dad and his kid got sick. And he goes, and the text and everything came in all day long. And I'm at the hospital with my son. And he goes, I had enough. He goes, I was done. And I said, so how did you start the business? He goes, well, I told my story that I just told you about being at the hospital. And he goes, and I wanted to have my freedom. Would you allow me the opportunity to clean your pool or do this or help you with it? And he just literally walked around neighborhoods. That's it. He had a drone. He goes, I would go to the neighborhood. I would walk into a neighborhood. I'd put my drone up in the air. I'd just observe which houses had pools. He'd come down. He'd know which house to knock on. He'd go knock on the house and he'd say, listen, here's kind of, this is my company. Give him the card and said, and I do pools in this. And here's why. And he told his story. Do you know he works 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. Monday, Tuesday are his days if he chooses to do extra jobs. And the guy makes $25,000 cash a month. And what he does is he cleans pools and he maintains pools. So he went into obviously very wealthy neighborhoods. And so he goes, Dan, he goes like, I do 3 days of work. He goes, I've hired a nanny for those 3 days. If I'm late, she'll go and pick the kids up, get them home, make them dinner. I'm home every night. And he's just, so his story created his brand. He's one of the most, like you talk, like there is so many like people around everywhere where they say, hey, you know anybody for pools? And this guy's name comes up all the time. Like crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Jeff says,
Jeff,
brand is imprinted on my ass. Believe me, it hurts to get this brand over the years. It was not easy.
I love it, Jeff.
That's hilarious. So anyways, that's number one story.
Listen, guys, story is so crucial because I think, just my opinion, I think we all have a little inner child inside of us that loves to hear stories. And so here's a dovetail to that. Everyone's like, yeah, but I tell my story. Nobody, like, people won't resonate it. People won't resonate with it. Everyone will tell you the story is king. And here's Dennis Merritt Jones, another amazing individual who talks about how do we trust the process. Mm-hmm.
How do we learn to trust the process? What inside us do we need to change to start trusting these processes? Because, I mean, you're absolutely right. that you're not going to step out of an airplane with no parachute at 33,000 feet because gravity is going to take you to the ground. We know that. And we, inside, people might know of, sowing and reaping and cause and effect. But there's almost this, you're right, there's almost this disbelief inside of us of, I know it is, but I'm not really sure of it.
Well, you just nailed it. There's a disbelief that lives within us. And there's no way around it other than to find your way back to the infinite intelligence. And I continue to refer back to that. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But if you go into your rose garden and sit. And at this time of the year, there's probably not many roses where you live, but down here there is in California. And I have a beautiful meditation garden, and I'll sit there among my roses and my fruit trees, and there's amazing things in nature, and I'll just sit and be with them, and I observe them. Nature is one of my best teachers. I've never once heard the rosebush grunt or forest trying to grow its petals to unfold them. There's an intelligence within the rose that knows what it's supposed to be. The rose just continues to surrender to being what it was put here to be. Is it possible that it could be that easy for us? That if we allowed ourselves to just surrender to the idea that we're here on purpose, that some intelligence put us here that it knows how to do for us, through us, as us, that which we can't do ourselves or don't think we can do ourselves. It's continually coming back to the awareness that we are sustained by an incredible intelligence that knows how to do it for us. But we have a role to play. We have to surrender. And that's where faith comes in. That's where, and I'm not talking about some hocus pocus, airy-fairy religious faith of a sky god up there that's pulling strings for people. I'm talking about a faith that there's an infinite intelligence within each of us that knows how to do life for us, through us, as us. And that's living in the presence with it.
Yeah. So another very powerful now, and I hate to do this, but it's super important. We're going to get right back to that. Because DJ, we got to talk about our lane of the day.
Lane of the day.
It's part of the universe coming together and bringing things together for us and for our colleagues and friends on the show. So today's lane of the day is a flatbed lane from Charleston, South Carolina to Charleston, West Virginia. No, that's not a typo. Charleston, South Carolina to Charleston, West Virginia. Pretty cool, right? So line haul rate per mile is $3.53. Line haul rate per mile, all in, including fuel, is $4.42. Here's the big thing. Spot market is only 2 cents off of contracted rates. Contracted rates, including fuel, are $4.40. So one of the very rare lanes today where contract and spot are so close together.
Wow.
However, year over year, spot rates are actually down 40 cents a mile. So very interesting how it's all playing out. Line haul rates are trending back up after a low in March of $2.68 a mile. They're now 21 cents higher than the May average. So that's a pretty, when everything else is dropping, these are skyrocketing, right? And that goes back to what
insane. Flatbed's crazy right now, guys.
But it's the industrial market, right? So it goes back to what Dean is saying is there's a heavy heavy power in the industrial market is not being impacted by the regular LTL dry van market that the spot market's in. So it's pretty cool. It's interesting. So that'll be an ongoing thing. And tomorrow we'll have the full review. Tomorrow we're actually also going to have with Mark Ridley. So there's actually going to be 5 of us on tomorrow. And Ridley, if you're watching, holy crap, man, I am so sorry. So Ridley's on. So there's 5 of us telling war stories tomorrow. Even better. That's going to be awesome. And then Mark's actually going to start.
Shout out to Mark. I had a talk with Mark yesterday.
Great
I
man.
love that dude.
Great man. I mean, he's awesome. I don't care what Jeff says. He's amazing. But, I'm just kidding, Jeff. But it's so tomorrow we're gonna have the review of the week, like the Lane review of the week, and then also what we're doing is we just to give the audience kind of a foresight here, we're actually getting a currency review of the week as well from Mark every Friday.
Yes.
So back to Dennis Merrick Jones, trust the process, right? This is one. Okay, so Jeff actually jumps right into this. Don't just sit on the thorns. However, part of the process is just to do that. Take the path of pain where you are uncomfortable. This is how you grow as an individual, and it uncovers one's full potential you never thought you were capable of doing. Chase the discomfort. And yes. And here's another thing I'll say when it talks about trust the process. I think there's something that is innate in everyone that we need to overcome. You have to grow into the person you're going to be. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're, let's do a sales rep, for example, and you're a sales rep right now and you're doing $10,000 a month in GP and you want to get to $85,000 a month GP. Most people's sphincters tighten right up and they're like, oh my God, I can't. It's like a duck underwater. It's airtight and you're so scared. Right. And I know it. Did I just say that live? I did. Okay. So okay. That's how my whole, yeah. Okay, but so now it's that fear. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
The process, however, is there. You just got to learn into it. And we're always evolving, like everyone. I mean, DJ, how much do you learn into the person you are now from a year ago? Like, it's
even
crazy.
6 months ago.
6 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I was gonna say even a couple weeks ago, from taking getting introduced to this 5 voices like assessment thing and knowing my voice is crazy. I mean, that's even just opened the door and changed my view on this is. Now I understand a few things of why I'm weird or what makes me, but yeah, it's crazy.
One day you'll have to explain that to all of us.
I will.
No, just kidding. Just kidding, brother. Just
once
kidding.
Once I understand it myself.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing. And I'll just take a recent example because we can talk about all these examples that I don't think people will really relate to. Edison and the light bulb, 10,000 attempts. No, he grew and learned 10,000 different ways not to create the light bulb. Sir James Dyson, 5,127 different prototypes before the first Dyson vacuum actually worked. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we can go into that, but I don't think very many people can relate to that, right? Like since we've been born, you flick a switch and power comes on. It's not like we lived through that where it would have been more of a, oh my God, this is very it's impactful on my life. But you take yourselves, whoever you are watching, listening, a year ago where you were and where you are now. What have you learned? And I'm sure you're going to go back. The stories have taught you more. So, and here's a big thing when it comes to trusting the process. And this is one that Wayne Dyer taught me through his teachings, was when you have an idea, you can accomplish it. You really can. It's the universe. You heard about Dennis Merritt Jones talking about the universe. Yes. It's the universe telling you something. Pay attention. I look at just the idea I had in February and what it's done to a lot of people's lives and what it's going to do to a lot of people's lives. And I had no idea where to start. I started learning. I started educating myself right away. And we're talking 5 months ago? Even 4 months ago, because it was at the end of February. It was the 22nd February at 10:22 a.m. So it was 22:22 p.m. February 22nd on 2022. But I wasn't the person that was able to accomplish that. I had to learn into that person. And I think that's what stops so many people from truly going after their dreams, their goals, their big desires and ambitions. You got to be bold, fierce, unrelenting in chasing your dreams. And part of that is the education piece that you learn, you figure it out, you grow into the person you want to become. And you go back to that $10,000 or $85,000 a month in GP, right? Like $10,000 a month in GP, you're pretty much running your own business. You're cradle to grave. You have to learn how to deal with suppliers and all that. But when you're running $85,000 a month in GP, you have to learn how to manage people properly. You have to learn how to mitigate challenges. You have to learn how to deal with everyone's different personality. If you learn into that person, do you screw up? Ho, hell yeah, bro.
Of course. We're human.
Yeah.
We're human.
I taught DJ everything he knows. I've still not received that check, DJ. What the fuck?
I owe you.
You know what,
I owe you.
Jeff? You do get a check. You get a check every day because DJ thanks you. Whoa, there's your commission.
Thank
There's
you.
your commission. There you go, brother. All good. All good. I said to my wife the other day, she said, "What was the hardest sell of your life?" I said, "You." She goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah." So my wife and I got asked at the last minute to go to this meeting for satellite tracking with the trucking company I was at. And when the owner asked me, I said, "Okay, all right. I don't know what sales has to do with satellites, but okay, I'll go."
Yeah.
And so my soon-to-be wife walks around the corner, and as soon as she walked around the corner, and it was probably 100 yards away at least. No, maybe not, maybe 50 yards away. And when she came around the corner, I said to the two owners of the company, I said, "I'm going to marry that woman." And the guy's like, "She is so far out of your league. Like, you are friggin' crazy. It's never going to happen." Anyways, and it was, again, the universe just said something. That's your wife. We're married now. I trusted the process. And just to give y'all insight, like, I just knew in my heart of hearts she was my soulmate and be the one I would be with for the rest of my life. And she had a boyfriend at the time, right? Like, no clue, but it was like, it did not matter. And then I saw actually a post this morning from Bill Paul where he says, he put, recruiter, "Hey, do you want to come work for, are you happy in your job?" And the other person, "Absolutely." And then it was a picture of Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber where he says, "Oh, so you mean there's a chance," right? And he talked about the fact that when you sell, when somebody says no, you mean there's a chance. And it got to the point where she says, when I asked her, and I said, like, "Honey, the beautiful thing is I'm still receiving commission from that sell every day, and I have been for the last 20 years of my life." And she says, "Well, it's interesting because you were like belly lint that just didn't go away."
You hear that, folks? That's how you do it. I keep telling you, be the little kid, the annoying little kid. You'll get it eventually. Just keep pulling on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think I just broke the walls down where she was like, "Hey, forget it. This guy's obviously not going away. He's going to become a stalker if I don't do something about it. So I may as well just give into it." But yeah, I mean, all joking aside, it was one of those things where there were nights where it was like, or weeks or whatever, where it's like, I'd ask her to do 10 different things. And not like in a day, like over the course of 3 weeks, everyone. So it's not like, "You want to do this? No. What about this? No. What about this? No. What about that?" Like, it wasn't one of those. But it was one of these things where I'd invite her to things. I'd invite her out golfing. I'd invite her, different things. And it was no, 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 no. Mm-hmm. And then one day it was like, "Sure, I'd love to." And I remember because I just kept talking. I said, "Hey, I don't know if, would you be interested in going for a round of golf?" I mean, I guess, and she says, "I'd love to." And I'm like, I know you got a lot going on, because I was just so used to the rejection. I just kept talking.
You just kept selling.
It was literally like a movie where I was like, "Hold on, what did you just say?"
Hold on.
And she says, yes? I said, "Yes." And I went, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Yeah, you could stop talking now." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, cool." All right. And it was one of those things, but again,
I'm so glad you shared that story though, guys. I know what you're sharing is what I think most people miss. Like, if you don't have that drive of whatever's pushing you, that everybody's telling you it's crazy, the universe is telling you it's crazy, even the other person is telling you it's crazy, but you just want it no matter what. Mm-hmm. Listen to that, because it's telling you, the universe is leading you. That is the process. I think that is.
It is. DJ, here's the thing. And here's what I learned through a hell of a lot of teachers, coaches, and interviews. When you get that initial feeling, remember it. Because you see,
yes,
when Christine came around the corner, I kept that feeling of she's my soulmate. Like I kept it in my heart. And that's what drove
you could
me.
still tell when you tell this story, you could still feel, I could feel what you're saying from the story.
Feel it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like at 10:22 p.m. on February 22nd, 2022, when that idea hit me, I could still, and it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I could still feel it. And that is the feeling that's going to take you through the mountains of challenge. And you're not going to climb them. Screw that. You're going to blow right through those mofos. And that's the big thing that so many people forget. And I do believe wholeheartedly, when we forget that feeling, when we forget that excitement, when we forget that like overwhelming joy, energy, and just vitality in us, that's when we lose sight of what we really want. Yeah. And we accept something at a second tier.
We you know, the product we just become the person in the wheel. We're the rat
and we're in a cog. And we're like a hamster running, and we think we're getting there, and then all of a sudden it runs. You know, it's like the donkey and the carrot, where you think you're about to get it because the wind's blowing the carrot, and all of a sudden it's like, and it goes away. And that feeling, holding on to that, bringing that to your life every single day, I think it takes practice. It takes guts. But you know what? In the end, the universe does reward you, just like Dennis says. And, you know, one of the things that I could suggest to everyone, if you've ever felt that, I think we all have, I think we've all woken up. I mean, I don't know about you, DJ, but I've woken up with these awesome ideas. I had a buddy of mine, and it's like, he says, hey, have you ever thought of this? I took a drink of pop one day and a bee was in it and it stung my tongue and it hurt like an SOB. Yeah. And I said, you know, we need to create something. So we spent like 3 weeks in my garage developing a tool to put over pop cans.
I love it.
We lost the feeling, right? 3 weeks down the road, oh, it'll never work. You know, companies in Asia aren't getting back to us for blow molds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You lose that kind of energy. You lose that drive. You lose that passion. You lose the feeling you had when the bee stung me. And and then like literally, and I know it always happens like this, like literally a month later, I'm in the gas station and I look and there's a friggin' plastic thing there. That's the exact same thing we were building. I'm like, those motherfuckers stole my idea, right? How many times has that happened to you? It's crazy.
Tons of times actually. But for anybody who does struggle to find that feeling, this is the trick that I found. It was mind blowing. I think I shared this with you, Dan, but I found it actually in a quote. But then I was starting to do it.
Get out of here! You don't like quotes.
Yeah, I don't like quotes at all. But but anyways, so I'm letting you into my weirdness, everybody. So I have a little magic 8-ball that I was given as a gift at the flea market from a customer that had 2 of them. I was like, "Where'd you get that?" So they gave me it. I used that to ask questions about, well, is this going to happen? And I think it is building that story to make me want to believe. But the thing that I learned from doing this weird act was just the same feeling that I have when I'm asking that magic 8-ball question. Is so if you guys want to figure out if you're chasing the right thing, if you actually are chasing what's in your heart, take a coin, heads or tails, pick what heads you want this, whatever you're deciding, tails you want something else or what you're already doing. Flip the coin when it's in the air, whatever you're hoping it is, not when you cover that coin, whatever you're hoping it is, not what it sees, but whatever you're hoping, that's what you truly want. You're feeling that feeling, you're feeling it in that moment. When it's in the air, pay attention to that feeling and you'll be able to then get in tune with what is you actually really want. And that was, it was like, oh shit, okay. I'm asking these stupid questions and worrying about this because this is what I want. I'm chasing.
You're not asking stupid questions. You're asking the questions you think you should ask until you learn into the person that you need to become. So you learn to ask better questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeff says, This is not the best podcast out there. Watch HPLS tomorrow. It will be the boom that starts your weekend off on the right foot. Share it with your networks. Maybe the Undertaker will show up.
No.
So
hold on.
Jeff,
hold on
the
here. Undertaker, like doom.
The Undertaker. Oh, but what do you mean this is not the best podcast out there?
What?
Yeah, Jeff. I think you've been disqualified from tomorrow.
Stop. Yeah. I think you said it is the best.
Yeah, I think Jeff meant to say this is the best podcast out there. The not. I don't know why that was in there, but we will. Do you have a highlighter? We could highlight that out of there. We just cross it out or something. James says, "Love this. It's about the chase, the building of relationship, nurturing it. Love this, Dan. 100%. It 100% is. It's like flipping a coin. You'll know what you want it to be." He says, you beat me to it.
Yes, James. I love it, my friend. Yes.
I can't believe we only got through 2 videos today. But you know what? So here's kind of a recap. The story. What's your story?
Yes.
What is the way you can relate your story back to people and trust the process? I encourage all of you.
Please.
If you wake up with an idea or an idea hits you, take that idea to its end result. Go with it immediately. I would even suggest if you're driving somewhere, maybe not to a sales meeting but if you're driving to work, pull over and complete that thought on your phone. Complete it on a voice memo and then get back on the road, because Wayne Dyer once said, this is the universe giving you the next great idea for you to bring to completion.
Yes.
And no matter how far out it might seem, just know you learn into that individual. And when you learn into that individual, that's when your life will take on a whole new meaning and a whole new change. And I'll be sharing some things in the coming weeks, but I could tell you from personal experience, I've learned into a totally different person in the last 2 weeks, and it's a learning curve that nobody wants, but when it's hit with you, you got to go with it and you got to make the best of it. And I've actually turned that learning curve into the biggest driving force in my life ever.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll share more as we go along. But for today, DJ, geez, that was a big. I mean, I'm curious to see if you're on nail on the head there, brother.
I'm not even gonna lie. I cheated when we were in the second video. I'm like, I have a good quote for stories. I'm going to that one, but they're calling us out, and he said it's nothing but good stuff, is what Jeff was saying.
He says, Jeff, I've got your back. This is not the best podcast. And then James comes back and says, or Maggie says, when he said it's not the best, which means you can't deny it is. I got you, Jeff. And Jeff says, this is the one and only show you should be watching daily. The best of the best. Oh, thanks, brother. You're back on for tomorrow, Jeff. You're good. You're in for tomorrow, brother. Maggie says, Jeff says, Maggie is my friend. See, Maggie is my friend. Yeah. No, yes. We're your friend, brother. We just, we love you, Jeff. It's all good. We love you, Jeff. We wouldn't harass you if we didn't love you, brother. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so the quote to take us out before I get to that, well, thank you, everybody. Seriously, all the comments and everything, you guys really are. You guys are the best audience, so thank you.
Damn right.
If we were just sitting here talking to a screen or talking to each other, it might not be as fun. I probably will be fun. Would still be fun because I love talking to Dan, but it would not be as fun. So thank you guys.
You dove into the hole. And you're like, shit, I got to dig myself out.
I did already. But seriously, thank you, everybody. Thank you to American Logistics, Centurion Trucking, Daman. Hopefully you will join us, because man, you really, people over profits, guys. You're looking for a new home, you're not liking where you're at, reach out to Daman. Just give him a shot. But and to everybody joining us, tomorrow is going to be such a fun show. Friday and Monday, guys, you're going to hear some crazy stories. I'm sure it's going to be so amazing, especially Dean.
I'm really looking forward to it, DJ. I think it's going to be super spectacular.
Oh, brother. My goodness. Dean gave us a little sneak, guys, and I'll just tell you. Just you know ready. What? That's all I can say. Be ready. So
yeah, because when he said that to us, we were like, no way. He's like, I'll talk about it on Friday. I'm like, holy crap,
crazy.
Definitely.
Anyways, it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a blast.
So our quote to take us out today, everybody, is Danielle Laporte. And it's, nobody can tell your story the way you can tell your story. Tell your story, everybody.
See everybody tomorrow. Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking.